And the Redbirds are back here in Season 2 on MLB The Show 24. Welcome back, everybody. 21 games into the year, our Cardinals look like they're in really good shape. We're currently top 10 or even top 5 in a lot of critical categories. The offense has been pretty hot so far, and we have a couple pitchers off to excellent starts as well. We'll see how hot this team remains. Remember last year in the first half, we had our long hot streak. It did not maintain past the All-Star break. Today I want to take a larger chunk out of the season, get through April into May, and see where this season begins to turn. I like to go fast as we go through these early years and see the development for our youngest, most intriguing prospects, and eventually get that team that we want to spend a lot more time playing with. And we'll get a clearer picture of how we're going to be approaching this year's draft. Right now, really trying to hone in on the left fielders before moving on to some other positions. Our hottest players right now include Jordan Walker in his third season, who's had some really good play in episodes recently. 4 home runs with an OPS of 909. That is currently one of the best in our starting lineup, but Brendan Donovan and Wilson Contreras are over 1,000. These two have really exceeded expectations, especially Donovan, who I really didn't think of as much of an offensive difference maker before this run. Then you've got Steven Matz, who leads the NL right now in ERA in a good way. He and Sonny Gray have been phenomenal, and even Miles Michaelis has very good numbers as well. I just don't see this being sustainable for a lot of these guys to keep pitching at a high level, but let's start going through some games and see where the season goes. We wrap up this week against the Atlanta Braves, and that is 10 runs at the least. A 10-run win. Corbin Burns pitches the gem in the 3-hit shutout this time. Bullpen gets the day off. Big day for Lars Nootbaar against the Rangers as we win our 4th game in a row. 2 homers in that game for Nootbaar, and it's a clean sweep of the Rangers. Gorman homers 3 times in this series. The pitching again staying on top of things. Texas scores only 7 runs in the series. So we head on the road to take on the Orioles and make it a full week of victories. And the next day, Ryan Ward, AAA first baseman, he is a little shaken up here. He's going to miss some time as we look to win again, 12-4 and 4-0 against the Orioles. Just a little 8-game win streak as we get a bunch of information here on the 12 left fielders. Well, I'm certainly intrigued here with David Chung. Comes in 6 on the board. Could be a first-round option. A 19-year-old prospect who's a good contact hitter and has a little more power against lefties. Could end up being pretty good down the road with high vision, solid discipline, a fairly strong arm. That's a pretty good prospect. Mariano Oliva comes in. 13th on our board. 49 on the MLB board. He's a more well-rounded player. I do like this skill set a lot. Might have average power, be more of a on-base contact guy with good defense. Steve Padilla is still over 100 places higher on our board than the MLB board, so we're right where we need to be scouting these left fielders. We're going to wrap these up. Derek McCormick continues to look more and more intriguing. I'm feeling really good about having options for that first-round pick. Love the power and the defense you're going to get from him. That's a fun skill set right there. Augustin Garcia, not even ranked, but 98th on our board. You want to have some guys you could take in the 3rd round as well. Garcia doesn't really seem to have anything that stands out in particular. Could be kind of a jack-of-all-trades player, but I'm a little surprised he'd be 99th without anything kind of popping here. There are even some prospects here who you're really drafting just because of their defensive abilities, and maybe you can develop some offense down the road. So it's fun to see different archetypes of players and being able to project out different kinds of paths for players to have roles. This is really nice. I love the adjustments to the classes this year. Rafael Taveras. We have so many outfielders here who have intriguing skill sets. And Taveras is only 141 on the board, but actually has that high contact upside, vision, discipline. I think I'd like him a lot earlier than 141. I've also seen a lot of comments talking about first baseman Daryl Moreno as one of our best choices. He does have a very high ceiling with the bat, and the defense looks solid. It doesn't even have to be at first base, but he's a first base only or DH guy who might have one of the better bats available when we come around at 15th overall, and he's right at the 15th spot on our board. So I will look to take the time then to wrap up his profile, and we can finish that up here in 1 week. And we're going to do some discovery here on the infielders. I want to see if we can find a player that maybe takes us in a specific direction. There are some shortstops I like in the East, so we're scouting that region right now. 19-8 though, that is an impressive start to the year for us, putting us 3.5 up in the Central, and also giving us the best record in the majors. And with us covering a lot more ground in this episode, I should be able to have a good little prospect showcase in the next video. And a lot of you seem to like those shorter edited segments I did for the previous video showing off Landon Sullivan. And I didn't see a lot of talk about his skill, just the way he ran. His animations stay in the way it is. Our winning streak is snapped. Can't win forever as the Orioles finally best us. And we follow that up by then sweeping the Miami Marlins. Sonny Gray has a great outing in the finale. This is another shutout, complete game. 8 strikeouts in 9 innings. He and Steven Matz don't seem to be slowing down at all. You know, I've actually thought about making a video talking about like different ways you can keep yourself engaged in like an MLB franchise and kind of move at a fast pace still so you can maintain your like enjoyment with it and not get bored. Like I always get questions about how many games I play and how I go about keeping that fresh. But one thing that's really helped me a lot, especially when I'm doing heavy simulating, is just keeping track in a note, like what is our record by month? It kind of tells you shows you the ebbs and flows of the season. If you have like a bunch of months above average or below, you can see the path of your year pretty cleanly. But this time last year, after April, we were 11-19, and this year we're 22-9. We're just hitting the heck out of the ball right now. Second best batting average, the most runs in all of baseball. And we're even getting extra base hits, top 5 in doubles, and now 5th in homers. When we started this episode, we were tied for 16th. So we've just been blasting home runs here in the recent series. Wilson Contreras, Nolan Gorman, your current home run leaders. And we should start seeing more development or regression for the entire roster. Jordan Walker's having a good year against lefties. Contact and power are both on the rise. That's with him hitting .346 and having 3 of his 5 home runs in those 26 at-bats. After that first month, I also like to look more at the splits and start to adjust the lineup based off of what we're seeing. Lars Nootbaar not hitting lefties great this season. Did it, I think, much better last year. But the majority of our starting lineup is destroying lefties, destroying everybody. Joey Loperfito's hitting .455 in 22 at-bats. Like, the offense just can't do any wrong. There are 3 Cardinals here in the top 5 in batting average in the National League. We're only getting hotter. That doesn't make any sense. Nobody here in the tops for home runs. We do have a couple guys, though, at 6 and 7. 3 of the 4 best on-base players. Yeah, that'll do it. That explains the long winning streaks. Steven Matz leads the league in victories and still is number 1 in ERA. But that's only one chunk of the season. On to the month of May. Well, here's our first losing streak since the 14th and 15th of April. Daryl Moreno's scouting is done. He lands right now 15th on the board. Looks like the projections for the offense has come down a little bit. but 76 to 91 potential, and a 64 to 79. That's a pretty high starting overall for a guy who's only 18. He could be one of those guys that within 2 years is starting to push for that major league playing time. And he's got power at a corner infield position. It would definitely be someone worth targeting. We also managed to discover 3 new infielders. Daniel Lewis comes in not ranked. Gregorio Cruz comes in 198, so maybe a late round guy. And then Dominic Hernandez unranked. So sometimes you don't get the best of luck there on discovery, but I think the positives are still very evident. I'm going to do one more on discovery here. I will try a different region. We'll go international here on the infield. But this will wrap up the left fielders, and then we can move on. Back at home to take on the 21-16 Dodgers. Good litmus test for where we are right now, and a 12-3 win is where we start. But then we drop the next 2, getting shut out in the middle game, and then looks like we gave up 5 runs in the 9th inning. And 3 of those were charged to closer Ryan Helsley, whose ERA is far above what you want to see, and I'm seeing the same for Kopech and Gallegos. Maybe that's one area on the team right now that's not been as hot, and when your offense is this lights out, the pitching is as good as it is, you can hide a bullpen with that. 2 homers on this one for Jordan Walker. Let's take a look at that bullpen, though, see what we got going on right now. Jojo Romero, a 1.99 ERA. Let's go to the numbers that we look to these days. Wow, Ryan Helsley has the worst FIP on the entire staff, even lower than Michael Kopech. So right now they're saying Ryan Helsley has been a negative for us this season. Miles Michaelis, a 5.01 FIP. That's a 4.5 K per 9. Jeez. Gallegos not doing all that great. Fernandez not striking out many. The ERA and WHIP look all right, but he is getting development, 64 overall, so I'll call that a win for now. Kyle Gibson's strikeout numbers are pretty pitiful too. And then you start to get into the more reasonable numbers, and Matt Moore, one of our free agent additions, has been one of our best pitchers so far. Zach Thompson has actually been very good, and Sonny and Steven Matz are still phenomenal. Corbin Burns. So we've got him 3-3 on the year, 2.9 ERA. That's a good number. 2 complete game shutouts. That's pretty impressive. So it's not like the entire bullpen is struggling, but it's those late inning guys who have, oddly enough, been our least reliable. So I think it makes sense to take Gallegos out of this role, and I'd be thinking maybe of putting Matt Moore there. He's been one of our best relievers, so let's swap those 2. And I'm not sure if it matters what order you list your middle relief pitchers, but I usually try to put it in an order I like. And actually, the way it's going right now, or I like the way the innings are being spread around with this current setup. I do want to get Andre Palante some more innings to see if he ends up developing a little more, so I'm taking him out of this setup role down at AAA. And then as a peek down at the AA level, we've got Thomas Morse right now off to one of the strongest starts. He was a draft pick and pretty well developed first base option. I could see him definitely contributing for us with where his offense is at and how fast he's hitting the ground running. Chris Rotondo, he's also got, wow, the potential boost. He's been taken up to an A. Okay, then. I'm not sure, is potential changing a little bit more? It's hard to say. When you're looking at this menu, I think that means that it's changed letter grade, but maybe there are minor moves happening all over the place that I won't know unless I do this weird way of finding out what the potential for a player actually is. But for Rotondo, it is a 90. And as far as I can see, he is the only player whose letter grade has actually changed this year. Norris Sullivan, by the way, this is a little troubling. Contact, power, those are both going down. And his numbers aren't even bad. I mean, they're not great. His slugging is definitely down. And it's his contact that's going down the most right now. So I would actually be tempted to put him at single A to get that corrected if it doesn't do it here soon. But right now, he's only hitting 2 for 14 against lefty pitchers. 25-13 is the Cardinals' record as we continue on, losing this series to the Dodgers. That's 2 consecutive loss series. Now against the... Ooh, that's a big one right there. Nolan Arenado has sustained a fractured foot during today's game. That's a 1 to 2 month injury. Going to put him on the 10-day injured list, and that is a big storyline for a team as hot as our Redbirds are right now. So now I want to know if that's closer to 1 or 2 months, but who replaces him at third? I don't think Gorman has the defense. J.D. Davis could probably hold that down. You know, this is part of why I got JD. He can play third. That's his primary spot. His defense is solid. Then that puts another bat into the lineup if we go with him. So in that case, then, who gets the call up? Victor Scott down at AAA is taking his offense in the right direction. This is really promising. Mason Wynn hitting .264. Mixed results, but mostly positive. There's our Elvis Martinez down at AAA, and now he's caught in a little cold streak. But this is, I think, an important year for him to mostly develop. Next year would be the last year of being able to send him down to AAA. So I really want to make sure he develops as much as he can this season. What we might have to do here is put someone like Merrifield at second base, and maybe Gorman can do some DHing. That's probably the best thing for our offense, because no one else would be as much of a positive there. And I think now you move Walker up into basically Arenado's spot in the batting order with how hot he's been this year. 8 homers currently, slugging .602. One thing to keep an eye on, though, is Merrifield's actually struggled this year. Like, he's obviously regressing. His career is winding down, but the regression this year has been pretty darn steep. And to back up third and short now, I'm going to bring up Livan Soto, who's down at AAA right now. He's someone who's already on the 40-man roster, and we have 40 on the 40-man, so that's kind of the easiest roster move for us to make. So that's the real first major challenge thrown our way this season. You know, last year around the same time, we had to learn how to play without Goldschmidt because of trade. Now we have to learn how to play without Arenado because of injury. Where will we go from here? We'll find out after we do a little scouting. Left fielders are done, and 1 discovered infielder. And we're just not getting the best luck discovering new prospects, so gonna have to probably focus on players we do know about now to get us some more draft information, but we do have the left fielders I've been targeting now mostly done. 95 is where we're at. So there's a very good chance our first round pick ends up being one of these left fielders. It could also end up being the first baseman, Daryl Marino. I feel pretty prepared for that spot. So there are a couple shortstops that might not go all that early I'd like some more information on. Here is Kenny Cameron, who might be a 4th or 5th round option, but his defensive skill is really high. Those ranges are fairly tight because he's a 21-year-old prospect. I do want to get some more information on him. And if we start going focused here with some of these scouts, like we can do 90% in 1 week, we should wrap that one up. And then we have at 82 on the board, 21-year-old Levi Pate from Connecticut. And there's just a lot of good upside across the board with him. So we can do 80 in 1 week there. In our first game without Nolan Arenado, we lose 5-4. It's actually a loss for Sonny Gray. And in our first full series, we lose to the Nationals with the offense taking a bit of a fall, only scoring 10 runs in these 4 games. I already got what game I want to play in mind. Next up, we got the Brewers. They're winning 5-3. Devin Williams shuts us down. That's our first 3-game losing streak of the season. We then get shut out in the next game and lose the next one as well. What happened? I see Helsley in the game. 5 more runs given up in the 10th. What is happening? Zach Thompson gives up 4. I mean, Helsley had a blown save, gave up 1. He has at a 6.17 ERA. What is wrong with Ryan Helsley? And suddenly now that's a 1-6 week. We're now deadlocked with the Brewers atop the Central as we navigate the Arenado situation. So with Nolan, looks like they're still not giving us a clearer timetable on his return. Let's go take a pit stop here with the scouting. And the rankings have stayed nearly the same. So we have a couple infielders here. Pate looks interesting. I mean, really high vision. The defense is exceptional, and he hits lefties quite well. And then Kenny Cameron, yeah, his defense above average is like the floor. So it'd be nice to have some defensive specialists that we can develop. And who knows, if they get hot, maybe the bat goes somewhere nice. 66 to 76 potential, though, is not the best range, whereas we got 69 to 80 on Pate. The left fielders now are just done. And yeah, we got 4, 13, 14, 37, 52, 58, 106. Like, these are going to give us so many options for the first few rounds. But David Chung is going to be the highest rated outfielder there, 81 to 96 potential, just 19 years old. He's going to have high vision and discipline, so an on-base, contact-first outfielder with a strong arm. So it's just up to, do you like the skill set without a lot of power there? Overall, though, this is pretty exciting to have him go from 37 to 4 on our board. So we're also going to scout the best infielders that are projected to be there when we pick. I'm skipping McCann and Almanza for now to go to Rufus Pryor, who's 40th on the board, but I got to see if he's anywhere close to these high potential ranges. So now we're going to uncover what we can about these infielders. And meanwhile, we're trying to end a 5-game slide and take this finale from the Milwaukee Brewers. We remember all those hot streaks earlier, and some players are still hot, but now we got cold streaks. We're missing a guy. Lars Nootbaar hitting 167 against lefties. Same record. This is a first place battle. Hard to hype that up in May, but that's what we've got going on here. Their pitchers have only given up 1 earned run in this series. 1 earned run in 3 games? All right, we know what we have to do today. And taking the mound is Miles Michaelis, who makes more money than Corbin Burns for now. But he's been solid this year. Let's see if he gives us the type of outing that can help get us a win back. Bryce Terang here for the Brewers, and we're underway. I feel like I've developed the ability to take big chunks out of the season like this. We're going to cover about a month's time here, while still feeling like I know like where the team is. Like, the worst thing is when you simulate and feel lost. But I've tried my best to figure out how to go quickly while still understanding what's happening. So let me know if I'm doing a decent job of that. Into left field. Terang sticks with it and sends it to the corner. It's going to rattle around, and he's at second with a leadoff double. And this is about what I had in mind. Let's do a few episodes in April in the young season and then start to ramp it up. And now we might be covering a few weeks to a month at a time, unless we get to the end of the year and there's maybe some critical series or storylines that we want to see play out. And then as we do this, I'll try to compare, like, timeline-wise, where we are in regards to, like, the A's franchise. I know that series started earlier, and I quickly stopped doing the Vikings franchise to make it the only series I was doing on this channel. But I want to be at a faster pace in terms of where we are season-wise. Into right field, Terang headed home. Carlson offline. It's 1-0 Brewers. I just opened an episode of the A's franchise in year 2, and our record was 15-19. So about the same part of the season. That video was posted May 7th of last year. So I'm catching up to the A's franchise timeline. Crack to the gap in right center. That's going to be another run. Michaelis getting hammered. Trying for 3 now. And in safely is Christian Yelich. 2-0 Brewers. Would love to leave Yelich at third. It's a little more reasonable to come back from 2 down than 3 as we get Frelick. And now Garrett Mitchell falling down 0-2. Right field and inning over. And we're up against one of the legends from the A's franchise. We had so much success with Aaron Ashby. Multi-all-star reliever. Routinely pitched over 100 innings out of the bullpen for us and was lights out. He cleaned up a lot of messes for us. And the lefty Brendan Donovan leads off. That's in. Donovan, one of our best on-base players this season, hitting .338 still. Oh, I didn't have to chase that. And now we got Walker up in the 2 spot. We quickly get to our right-handed power. And he's been one of our best players this season. Like, this is absolutely what this team needs in a post-Goldschmidt and now Arenado offense, even if that's temporary. Don't have to chase these. Grounded on to short. And Walker is retired. Contreras and Gorman, they're bumped up. J.D. Davis, we'd like more than he's given us on offense this year. Here's Contreras. He and Walker now are kind of the two. He and Gorman, you know, that's a trio of power we've got. Grounded through the right side. Contreras is aboard. And then we got Gorman, just a shade under a 300 average. 8 home runs and the 10th highest OPS in the National League. It's a 2-2 count. And chase the sinker. Couple bad strikeouts there in the inning as the Brewers lead it 2-0. See if Michaelis can respond. And that fastball's been hit hard, so see if we can rebuild the confidence against the bottom of the order. That's a 1-pitch out. And on 1 pitch, it's Merrifield. 2 down. Now falling behind the 9-hitter, Joey Wiemer. And it's full. That's going to be dumped in right. The 9-hitter is aboard. This is quite a fast lineup they have in Milwaukee. I'd definitely look to steal here with 2 down. They're not yet as Terang's ahead. Wonder if this could be a steal situation. No. Can't find the zone. Andrew Monasterio now with 2 on suddenly. That's going to right center now. 3 straight reach, and that's going to be 2 more runs. The 9-hitter starts the rally. 4-0 Brewers. I haven't thrown that curveball since the first inning and trying to throw it just on the outer part of the plate. And he catches a whole lot more than it. Right over the middle. So now, there's William and Wilson Contreras, the two brothers. Edman has to spear the line drive to wrap things up in the top of the second. J.D. Davis only hitting .220. He is third in RBIs for us and has hit 6 home runs. Just hasn't been the most efficient player. Off the glove, and now a foot race, swung by Aaron Ashby. We're going to need some guys like Carlson now to pick up the slack and step it up. He's hitting .239. Someone who, going back to the last game, I like to hit him against lefties an awful lot. Got him hitting 6th. That is sent in the air to center field. Heading back and off the flower box. It is gone. A top shelf solo shot for Dylan Carlson, and the Cardinals are on the board. I don't often get to that pitch. Even though it's a miss, it's kind of awkward to see a slider that high. But nailed it. That is an A's franchise collision right there. Carlson and Aaron Ashby. We made it a couple rows up, actually. Right off that staircase. No one gets it now. Tommy Edman has struggled, though. 192 average. I think Mason Wynn is pushing for taking back that shortstop job with the way he's played at AAA. Might be someone we check in on next episode. Tommy's just not done it offensively. You know, I just want him to reach base. I don't need him to supply the power. But a 275 on base, 339 slugging is just not much of an impact there. Well, we're going to boost that on base a little bit with a 2-out walk. And here is Christian Pache, who against lefties has pretty solid ratings, 69 contact, 59 power. They're just so much lower against righties. So my whole plan this year was, you know, I'm buying time for some prospects to get ready. Can we take a shot on a guy like Pache and see him maybe get some development or take his game up a notch to have a chance to help us out? I'm always coming up with ideas early in franchises for how I want to rebuild and how I want to give guys second chances. So I'm excited to do moves like this. Got him with the big 12-6. I don't know how much longer we can have Michaelis stay in this game. He just doesn't have it. His fastball's been terrible. We have a bullpen, too, that's been kind of gassed the last couple days. This might end up being a couple innings from Kopech soon if we're down a couple. 20 balls to 26 strikes. The problem is the fastball is the only pitch that's reliably been finding the zone. But it's the one getting hit the hardest because it's in the zone, and he doesn't know how to miss bats at this stage of his career. Full count to Sal Frelick. To left. Donovan trapped it. There we go. That's a play we should be able to make. Pache looking to get that running start. But they're not running on that arm. As I've been looking at this roster and some of the C potential prospects, I think that it's also easy to see a path for a lot of those guys that contribute. We get excited as Mejia is going to send one deep to right and gone. I thought it was going foul. Oh, man. Ugly day for Miles Michaelis. I'm done with this. Trying to end a losing streak, and this is not going to help us out. It's first real rough patch to try and get ourselves out of this year. But what I was saying earlier is, you know, we get excited about these A and B potential players, but I do think there's potential with the C potential guys, even as starters. You know, oftentimes they're better used as bench players, but I do think with the way the show does the overall formula, that there are a lot of C potential players where you look at the ratings and it's like, yeah, that guy can totally be a bat for us. And I think guys like Norris Sullivan even have a chance, Thomas Jay-Z. Hopefully we can have some success stories with those guys. I always like developing kind of more of the overlooked long shots. They're just not going after anything here. Like, Kopech's pitched well in this at-bat. Trying to get his first out. And he gets the chopper to second base. Oh, Merrifield. Issues at second. How will they rule that one? Would have been a tough play, and that's going to be a base hit. The 9th already for Milwaukee. It is the 3rd inning. They know where to put them, that's for sure. 10 hits. Eventually, they give us a break. Just a little late on another top shelf slider, and Walker is retired. Contreras, deep and gone, a home run. I also thought that one would turn foul. Will his brother congratulate him? Nope. No way. Deep left and over the glove of Donovan. Yelich goes oppo. 9-1 Milwaukee. Well, I couldn't think of many reasons to continue this game. Cardinals lose again, are swept by the Brewers, and look to be in some serious trouble now without Nolan Arenado. For some reason, the box scores got glitched, and it's only recording now, like the stuff that I had simulated, I guess. I've never seen that happen before. But as hot as we were earlier, we have cooled off significantly, and we're down into second place now. We are 6-11 here in the month of May, desperate to end this losing streak. We do it the next day, 12-2 against the Nationals. We have a homer from Walker and Gorman, and Kyle Gibson gets the pitching back on track. There we go. We win against the Nationals, ensuring a series win. And it's Steven Matz going 7, allowing 4. 3 more homers for the Cards. We wrap the series up in a loss. Our next series is against the Pirates. And after splitting the first 2, we're going to face Paul Skeens here in the 3rd game. I'd like to play at least a player lock in this one. We'll check in on the scouting first, and we're a little over halfway through this. Rufus Pryor falling down the board fast. Domingo Carvajal also falling, not as drastically. Rico Saucedo 22nd on the board. I'll keep these 2 on the scouting board. I'll take Rufus Pryor's off, though, if he's going to fall that dramatically. We know we like Daryl Moreno at first base, but let's get some more depth behind him. And here is Cesar Coronado, a power first baseman. 31st on our board at the moment. There has been some really good development on this team. Here's Dylan Carlson, whose fielding is up 9 and vision is up 7. Those are really nice upgrades for him. We have Nolan Gorman, plus 8 fielding, plus 7 plate vision. And then we have Jordan Walker, who has seen plus 10 fielding. So this is going up a lot faster than I'm used to seeing. Because I would have thought those kinds of boosts would take a lot longer. Man, if that kept up, I could actually see him in the outfield one day. But I did want to do a player lock here with Walker, with him being one of our best players at this stage of the year. Wow, Wilson Contreras is hitting .340. He's still on fire. Well, let's go take on one of our rivals in Pittsburgh and get a look at Paul Skeens. Pirates, 28-24, just a few games behind us at the moment. Oh, that's right, they signed Juan Soto. They could be a bit of an issue. They made some good signings in the offseason. And here is Paul Skeens, who hasn't done great so far. He's gotten some strikeouts, but the ERA at 6.9. That's rough, a 1.8 whip. Here's Jordan Walker. Wow, second in the National League in RBIs. Playing like an all-star this year. Jordan Walker. Slider outside. Popped him up. Man, that was timed up and everything. That's unlucky. Oh, this time we got the bases loaded. 1-0 Cardinals, 2 down. That is swung on and missed. That was a little bit late on the timing. It still says good. Skeens 0-2. Now gotta try and protect. Right by him at 98. All right, he was in full-on attack mode in that at-bat. Couple of hits, including a Soto double, put the Pirates in front. Jordan Walker to first. And our third try. Wow. Base hit Walker. Now 1 for 3 on the day. Now Gorman hitting. It's a 3-0 count. He draws a 4-pitch walk. So now they're loaded for the hottest hitter in this lineup, and that's Wilson Contreras. Jams it to right, and there'll be no advance. Gotta at least tie the game here. J.D. Davis, 1-2. Right field. Down for a hit. We're gonna test. On the way home, Walker safe, and it's 3-2. Couple of RBIs there for J.D. Davis. And the score remains. But a new pitcher for the Pirates, Marco Gonzalez. That is drilled to deep center field. Back and gone. Jordan Walker with his 10th of the season. And we increase the Cardinal lead 4-2. Great to see him successful early in this series. This was going to be one of those real determining factors, I felt, in how quickly things would get on track. Because his ceiling was about as high as anyone's on this roster. And that potential is being realized. The Bucks get one back. 2 on, 1 down. Could that be 2? I didn't really have to do much. But it is a double play. We'll take that. It's a Cardinals win. Walker, 2 hits on the day. A double and a 2-run homer. I'm sorry, a single and a 2-run homer. Final score, 7-3 St. Louis. I am going to make that move, by the way. Sullivan's going down to single A just to get some things on track there. And while Walker has 10 homers, Gorman has 10 homers, the leader on this team is Wilson Contreras. 13 homers, .331 average. This is what we saw from him in the first half last year when he was an all-star. Here's a look, by the way, at the current top prospects in baseball. You'll notice Benny Matsumoto at 7, Dylan Lesko at 13. So the former top prospect was with the Padres. That is the catcher Ethan Salas. They got him called up now. He is a really young prospect. I want to say he was starting in their minor league system at 16 years old. And he's got a chance to be kind of a game-breaking catcher. Excited to track him in the franchise and in real life. But as a quick update on some of our top prospects, Benny Matsumoto is up to a 63 overall. Right on schedule with where we wanted him here. Dylan Lesko. His numbers have not been great at AAA, but he is still seeing development overall. Steve Castilla at AA, a 69 overall. You know, he might not have a very long wait to make it to the majors, but I think that Tink Hence is still going to be the first one that gets called up. He is currently dominating for AAA Memphis. And we'll talk more about these top prospects next episode. We're definitely going to be talking about guys at AAA that are very close to the show. But we're going to end today's episode after covering over a month. And I'd like to know what you thought of this episode and the pace it went at. We obviously didn't get a lot of in-game action today. But I feel like this covered a lot of important stuff here in Season 2. And to do it quickly, I think is important in some of these early years. We are in first place with a 32-22 record. But it's been a rough month, having to adjust after the Nolan Arenado injury. The last game he played was the 10th. Since then, it has not been easy. We have a lot of division baseball ahead of us. Our next 2 series, and then a couple more in the month of June will also be against the Cubs, Pirates, and Reds. That is going to do it for today, everybody. I love your thoughts in the comments. Please leave a like if you enjoyed today's episode. And whether you like the way this episode went or not, I like your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to the channel for much more Cardinals franchise. And I'll see you all next time. Have a great day.